All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to make sure I had my sound turned off. Well, good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the seventh day, I believe. Is it the seventh? Yes, it's the seventh day of January 2020. I've been working a lot with the pendulum lately, and I just asked it if we were going to go to war with Iran, and it said no. So let's see. I'll do it on camera, and we'll see what it does. So is the United States going to go to war with Iran? No. Now the swing's getting stronger, so no. However, will this decision to assassinate Soleimani, is that going to end Trump's presidency? Oh, are you there? Yep. Well, as of this moment, the pendulum is saying no war, but that it's going to end his presidency. So there you go. That's what we have today. I always take a lot of this with a grain of salt, although I do tend to believe in the pendulum. It's never actually been wrong. But what I've found is that, and I've had an occasion to see this, where I've used it in a situation where it looked like things were going in a particular direction and it showed that, but then all of a sudden, one day it changed. And it was just in a particular personal situation. And that's what happened. There was a change in perspective from the other parties involved, and it went a different direction. And the pendulum reflected that change. So it's one of those things where it's like, I checked in and said, hey, did something shift? And they're like, yeah, it did. So, I mean, it wasn't conflict. It was just, some situations happening. We're trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen here? Where is this going to go? And a lot of things were outside of everyone's control. It wasn't really anything. In other words, we were experiencing the same things, kind of situation, not interactive per se, but we were just experiencing the same kind of things. And so I've seen where it will shift when situations shift. So I don't know. Right now, that's where it's at. So anyhow, before we get into the astrology for today, I had mentioned yesterday I was going to let you know on the Ultimate Bundles Genius Bloggers Toolkit. They're having a flash sale. If you want to, maybe if you have a blog and you want some pointers on how to monetize it or just things you can do to grow your blog, this is a really good deal. Now, the date on this sale is only January 15th and the 16th, so that's the days. I've put a link under the video here in my link section where it says show more. You can click on that and it opens that up. If you're familiar with YouTube, you know about that. But if you're not, then you can do that. You'll find all these wonderful links under there to either follow me on or some of the people that the businesses I promote, companies I promote. So anyhow, Ultimate Bundles is one of those, and it's a very cool site. It's run by women. And it just puts together different resources together in these little bundles. One that I've been promoting is the Herbs and Essential Oils bundle. That's very cool. Lots of it, worth a lot of money for a very low price. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and it's great. But there's a couple of them right now. One more day after today, the sale's going to be over on the Ultimate Productivity Bundle. Now that is $47. Plus an additional $10 if you want the cheat sheets. That's 73 products worth over $2,800. It's 12 ebooks, 30 e-courses, which is very cool. 29 workbooks and printables, and 2 membership sites. So this is a really great value, this Ultimate Productivity Bundle. If you're trying to just get organized, our lives are so busy, aren't they? And it's difficult to do that. But now the Genius Bloggers Toolkit, again, that one is 94 products worth over $7,000. This is a flash sale that the gals are offering there. 26 ebooks, 7 printables and workbooks, 55 e-courses and videos. 5 stock photo packs and templates, and 1 membership site for this Genius Bloggers Toolkit. Now, again, sale dates, January 15th and 16th. I don't think it's happening any other time. So go over there. There is a link to that under here next to the name of it, the description of it, and check that out. You might like it. It's a great site. I've looked at all their products, and you're getting a lot for what you're paying. And I mean, a whole lot for what you're paying. So it's just there to help us all out. Next month, there's going to be a women's wellness one that we'll talk about. I just love this company. And it's one of the very first I started promoting when I started expanding all of that. And I just think they're great. So go over there and check them out. Use the link. I'll link to get there. If you purchase, and I hope you do, I'll make a little bit of advertising commission off of it. So be aware of that. And so use my links, please. But anyway, the correspondences are going to go up here in a little bit. That'll be for noon today. The astrology on that's going to be, the chart for that'll be done at noon. The one for right now, though, I cast at 9:30 because we're just right about that now, I think, or no, we're a little past that, I guess. And so we're looking at... let's see, let's go down to that. Again, when you can look at a chart, you don't actually have to look at the individual planets and where they are to really, I mean, you can do that, but you can get a general idea just by looking at it. If the planets are all mostly on the left side of the chart, you're talking the Eastern quadrant, you're looking at self-motivation, self-orientation, following your own path. Today and for the last little while, most planets have been congregating up in the upper left-hand quarter, which is called the fourth quadrant. That's the 10th, 11th, and 12th houses. That's where most everything's been. Yesterday, most everything was in the 11th house. Today, it's more 11th and 12th. And also a lot of the stuff is in Capricorn too. But again, you're looking at when they're in the 11th house, you're looking at relationships that are in focus. When you're in the 12th, you're talking about endings. You're talking about things that are hidden, like hidden fears, hidden enemies. But think things hidden, things that aren't really, that are below the surface that you can't necessarily know for sure what's going on. And so you kind of have to either take a wait and see approach or something, or you have to sort of kind of surreptitiously look inward and try to figure out what's going on. But today the moon's in the 3rd house in Gemini. We have an emotional need for intellectual stimulation, including interactions with others. But there's an conjunct between the moon and Jupiter, meaning they don't really understand each other. So it's just sort of suggesting to avoid some excessive behavior. A sesquisquare with Pluto, between Pluto and the moon, feelings are going to come up today possibly that need addressing, but try to avoid controlling the outcome. And choose your moment. If you're going to express those feelings, pick your time. Don't just, let it all go whenever. Sort of pick your time when maybe, think a biorhythm chart. When things are high, then not so great. But when tensions have maybe subsided, maybe that's the time to share what you feel. Because these could be things today that are significant that come up for you. The sun in the 11th house, again, in Capricorn, relationships are favored. So are interactions with others. You're somebody that you can be relied upon. We talked about that yesterday. Very important to be that today for people. Sun conjunct Mercury, your ideas are going to flow, maybe towards something successful. Mercury in the 11th house in Capricorn, connections with others are favored, but credibility is important, and you're going to want to take a cautious approach. Again, like with the moon issues, the sesquisquare with Pluto, where you're going to be waiting for your moment. Same sort of thing here, I think. Venus, 1st house in Aquarius, not 11th house in Capricorn, still there in the 1st house in Aquarius. You have a preference for unconventional relationships. I do. I prefer everything unconventional. So the more unconventional, the better. pursuit of the unknown. But we're also going to, with Venus here in the first house, we're going to be nurturing our feminine side today. So maybe, it's a day to go get your hair done or whatever, go buy something or go take a look at your wardrobe, make sure it's all up to snuff and that you're, ready to meet the world and potential new people in your life, so that you're attractive to them and all of that. So I don't know if that sort of thing is important to you, then think about that today. If it's not, then don't worry about it. There's a semi-square between Venus and Jupiter. So we're going to want to be open to new experiences, but just know that your love life may be a little unstable. Not necessarily a problem, but there could be a little bit of tension today with that whole Jupiter. Jupiter expands, okay? It makes bigger whatever's going on. So if there's a little bit of tension, it might magnify it a little bit. So just observe the biorhythm and just sort of let things, don't try to do anything when tensions are high. Or energies are high. Mars still in the 9th house in Sagittarius, looking for higher meaning, inspired leadership. An in conjunct, though, with Uranus is suggesting that impulsivity may be high. Here's the thing, massive change is happening right now. We have a 22-year, the president has gone and done what he's done. Lots of changes are happening. We don't know what a lot of them are, but our responses to this could be all over the place. So we're going to want to avoid any reckless responses. Again, when passions are high, you just don't want to necessarily speak out like that unless you're sure, because sometimes in how it's the way we do it, we can either make or break a situation by how we come across, right? Well, this is one of those moments. So Jupiter in the 11th house in Capricorn, another 11th house in Capricorn situation. Friendships are on the increase with a focus on shared passion. So again, make sure the passion doesn't get out of control. Saturn in the 12th house in Capricorn, you might work behind the scenes mostly to get where you're going. Maybe foundational kinds of things, sort of like writing the book instead of publishing the book, was one example I saw. But you're also going to be careful in the selection of your friends and associates today. Again, the same conjunct between Pluto and Saturn is still in effect. Ambition can get away from us today, so use leadership in a positive way. So that's it for that. Let's go ahead and get started. Check out the newsletter on the blog if you haven't subscribed to that yet. What are you waiting for? So in any event, that's pretty cool. I'm working on next week's already. They go out on Sunday, so sign up. Just put your email there. There's a link to it here again below the blog. Goes to the post about it on my blog over at imsteppingaside.com. That's called Stepping Aside. So check that out, and let's get going on our reading for today. Now that we know where the astrology is and you know what bundle you're going to buy from Ultimate Bundles, God, what a cool site that place is. Man, those folks, they got an idea and they ran with it. Very cool. But again, we've been looking at how the astrology has been affecting us and how it interacts with tarot. I've been doing more and more of that each time, trying to relate what we're coming up with the cards with what's actually going on astrologically, as well as the rune, both runes, not just the Elder Futhark rune, but the Geomancy rune that we close out with as well. They seem to all be aligning, and it's interesting and scary all at the same time. Synchronicities like that though, isn't it? Where you're kind of in awe of it, and sometimes you don't quite believe it until it's like over, and you go, oh yeah. Synchronicities are exciting. They're just exciting. It's when everything just comes together, and you just know that something's up and something's going to happen. So let's go ahead and take our first three cards and see what we have. And again, I'm going to take the 13th card each time for randomness sake. Well, got an uneasy truce here with the Nine of Wands. We're going to set that down. We're going to be talking about that demarcation line we've been talking about lately that appears on some of the tarot cards in the Rider-Waite. Instead of just, you know, here's the water and here's the land, they've actually, what Pamela Coleman Smith has done in this is she's actually drawn demarcation lines, which I sort of interpret as, you know, that was then and this is now. So there's a definite, you know, separation between what's happening in the Nine of Wands here. So let's go ahead and take our second card. We have the Fool, which will likely be our focal point of the reading, but we'll see. We may draw another major card here, and if we do, then maybe the 9 will be. I've been doing these readings in sort of a yod fashion, as I've been telling everyone. It was just a fluke that it happened one day. There was a yod in the sky, and it matched the reading, so it's like, oh, I guess I could think of it from that perspective, couldn't I? So sometimes we think of it in terms of the effect of the 2 other cards on the third, and sometimes we think about it, the effect the center card has, or the focal point card has on the other 2. So we'll see what the third card is, though. Yep. Okay. We got the card of death. We got the Fool and death. Or not death, the devil. What am I doing? Death. It's like, wait a minute. Death is not the 15th card. It's like so, okay. We've got 2, let's see, I'll put that back up because I want to keep my astrology up here just in case there's something here. All right, let's go ahead and we'll make the 9 of Wands our focal point, and we'll have the Fool and the Devil influencing this individual here. So we've got a 0 for the Fool card, so that's no numerology there. Wholeness and completion, basically, unity. 15 on the Devil. We're talking a 6 energy. We have a 7 today. We have a 9 here, so what? 9 and 6 is what? 15, so 16, or a 6 rather, not 16, 6 energy total. Did I do that right? That's a 6 and 9. Let's see, 6, yeah, 9, 10, 15, yeah, 6. So it's a 6 energy for the reading, a 7 energy for the day. So 7 energy for today is about balance. We have a 22 year, which if you look at the 2 and 2, you can look at a certain type of balance there. If you were to reduce the 22, which you don't because it's a master number, then you would be looking at a 4, which is a magnification of the 2, which is greater balance, structure, foundation, and all of that. So alignment-wise, then, if we're talking also about relationships being in focus and looking at the things that are hidden, if we're looking at both the 11th and 12th houses, then what we're looking at here, this is going to surround the hidden things involving our relationships. And in terms of hidden things, you could be thinking the undercurrent or the underlying layers of our relationships with others. What are they really? You know, everything with a lot of things in Capricorn right now, you could look at it in terms of reevaluation of those things, of where you've been in your relationships with others. That could be the overall thinking here. But let's take a closer look and see, when you look at the 9 of Wands, we're going to start with him first. You see this demarcation line right here. That was then, this is now. There was a battle. There was conflict. Battle of wills, if you want to say. The Wands is the fire element. It's about our will. It's about creativity. But here you have an uneasy truce. You see he's got the bandage on his head. He's looking back, sort of a furtive glance backwards, hanging on to his own integrity, his own will, his standing in his own power. Standing up for what's right. 9 is about completion. It's about ending. So the end to a struggle, perhaps, the end to a battle. But he's standing out there alone in his efforts to basically stand in his own purpose, his own power, the ending of something. When we talk about the Fool, though, we're talking about undeveloped potential. We see the little white rose in his hand signaling purity. Before he takes that leap into the abyss, the Fool is complete. All right. Once he takes the leap into the abyss, then he has to make this choice, right? The Fool could be considered the choice that we make. What kind of a leap are we going to take? Or is it going to be in service to self, or will it be in service to others? So we could say that after the battle, he now has a choice to make. Will he take the leap of faith? And I interpret this to be service to others, at least in this case. We'll do it probably another card to be sure. But here we have service to self with the Devil card. Here you have the woman with the pomegranate tail, and you have the man with the oak leaf. They're chained to some kind of post that our devil figure is sitting atop. Like the magician, he also has an as above, so below, hand up, other hand down type of a expression here. Only his torch is pointed to, his lighted torch is pointed below to earth and to physical form and to matter. Basically, this is about how much are we going to be a slave to desire? How much are we going to be a slave to the ego? Or are we going to embrace spirit and take the leap? His head is upward. So he's basically, or it, because it's an androgen. It's not either sex, really. It's not either gender. It contains both. But he's going to take the leap with joy, isn't he? Into the unknown, the leap of faith. Seems like we're embracing faith here as well, aren't we? That the battle is indeed over. Let's do one more card. I feel like there's something we're missing here. So I guess another way to look at this is we can keep the party going, so to speak, by a focus on the devil and focus on the ego within. The ego wants to separate, whereas spirit wants to unite. Given that the Fool is card 0, we already have fundamental unity. So in a sense, you could talk just from that standpoint alone about this in terms of fundamental unity versus separation. And I think that, especially with the demarcation line here on the 9 of Wands, you're looking at a sense of separation there between what was and what could be. And I think that maybe we could even, reverse the Devil card with the Fool and think of in terms of what was a focus on ego, and what is to be is a focus on spirit. So yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and we'll have the first card be the Devil, the second card be the 9 of Wands, and the third card be the Fool. So you can show that progression. I mean, we don't have to do it that way, but you can just show a progression in thinking a little bit that way. So let's do one more card just to be certain. Because this could have to do with something else. Well, no, I don't think it does. I think it's what we're talking about. Again, relationships are in focus. This is the 5 of Swords here. What has he won, really? We see the sketchy brown clouds. We see the dual effect of some of these cards. This is Swords in the air element, but yet you see a large body of water behind, so that's emotions. And you can see that the man by the water's edge is just bereft, and the other guy's looking at him, but they're not paying attention to the swords on the ground, while the other guy's picking it up, seemingly all too proud of himself at what he's done here. He's won, but again, what has he won? So I think it reinforces the devil card. What do you win with a focus on ego, really? You might get all the gold, you might get all the power, you might be able to do what you're doing, but in the end, what have you done? This could be something where you're having to make a choice here with the nine of wands to put an end to this nonsense, to stand out there and you discuss, because this could be a situation where you're just on your own. You've done something and you're on your own. Oh, well, heavens, what does that describe? I mean, the simplest, I don't know. We have Tiwaz. Now, this is, I believe, the 17th rune. So we're talking an 8 energy here. Well, where am I? There we are. Yep, 17th rune of the Elder Futhark. We're talking, and I'm going to draw this out because this is a bind rune as well. We're talking a spiritual warrior within. We're talking the god Tyr. And again, it's might for right. It's justice. It's standing up. It's truth, speaking truth to power. So either, this is reflecting, well, I'm going to draw this over again because I swear I can screw up stick figures like nobody else. Because that's really what these are. They're stick figures. But anyway, there's Tyr or Tiwaz. This is what I did. How I screwed it up. See, you can see I'm not good at this. How I do runes, I don't know. It's a mystery. Well, I use a pencil. That's how. And then I can erase. And then I can get it just right. And then I can wood burn them. So anyhow, we have Isa. We have Laguz, both forward and reversed. And we also have Kenaz turned downward. So the light of spirit informing. So there's your spiritual warrior within. You can see Isa here. Laguz, forward and reversed, flow, letting spirit flow with Kenaz there. That's the torch, the light of spirit flowing downward into Isa, basically, into alignment in source presence or alignment in spirit. So basically that's the side of the coin we need to be. We need to be on the side of the fool, basically. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to align Tiwaz then with the Fool. I'm going to align the 5 of swords with the Devil, because I think that it's part of this choice that we're having to make here. So we can look at this from 2 standpoints. We can either look at this as we've gone and done something that we shouldn't have done. We've made the wrong choice, and now we're standing alone, and we have nobody supporting us. Or in other words, we've chosen wrongly. We've chosen service to self versus service to others. And we need to make a different choice. Life cannot always be just about the individual. Sometimes it's got to be about the collective. Most of the time, it's got to be about the collective. And the ability to see that is the essence of Tiwaz. The spiritual warrior within, to be able to understand, an 8 energy is harmony, but it's greater harmony, and it's the understanding of the bigger picture. So shared purpose, shared sacrifice, shared akash, basically. Now I have to see what the geomancy root is. Isn't that how that always works? You get to the end and you're like, oh my God, what is that going to say? So we've got 1 for fire, a single dot for fire, 2 for water, 1 for water, 2 for air, and 2 for, let's see, what is that? Is that Amisio? Yeah, Amisio. Okay. Now, Amisio is theoretically loss, but it does not necessarily mean an emotional sense of loss. It could be the loss of a particular perspective or a loss of something. So, it could be a decrease, in other words, of something. So there's a missio. And yes, I can mess up dots too. So anyhow. So we lose when we're happy at another person's misfortune. We lose. We lose when we are a slave to ego. We want to overly control everything. We want to control everyone else, and it's not a good place to be. It doesn't, in other words, it doesn't deal with life in a way that reflects Tiwaz or the spirit warrior within, because it's not the ego warrior within, is it? It's not the guy that goes and just assassinates people just to take the heat off himself and everything else that's going on in his life, right? Oh, let's just go have somebody assassinated. We'll put everybody's focus on that, and they'll forget about all the nonsense I'm doing. Yeah. We have to bring an end to this, whatever this is for you. Okay, whether this is something that you've created in your own life, you've made the wrong choice, or we're having to stand up to the choices made by others. Because that's also a meaning behind the Nine of Wands. When you see that demarcation line, you really are standing out away from something else that is now over, or something else of someone else's creation. And I guess it's just, what is it that you want to lose today? What do you want to let go of? Do you want to let go of the control that doesn't seem to serve you? Or do you want to move forward in shared purpose with other people? And it just seems like that's the choice that we're having to make right now in this 22 year, this cosmic builder year. What are we going to build? Are we going to continue to build this house that's going to fall apart on us? Or are we going to let it fall and build something new? Or return to something we used to have together? But this is the feeling of what's coming, what's on the other side of the road, what's on the other side of whatever, what's coming, what do we have to defend against? Or do we want to take that type of experience and turn it into something of shared purpose that reflects that? Well, that's it, I think. I think we've done it. So very cool. Thank you so much for coming by. Again, this is going to go up on the blog. I post these over on the blog. I was doing it on the side panel, but I don't know what happened. WordPress did an update, and every time something like that happens, it either works really well, or something that I used to be able to do, I can't anymore. And it's like I have to delete that little widget that I put it in, and then do it all over again. And I think I should, and I used to be able just to replace the video. I can't do that anymore. So now I'm just putting it in as a post. The heck with it. That's what I used to do. So anyway, it's over there. It's also going to go over on the Patreon page. Oh, and one thing about the Patreon page, there's a Foundations in Magic video over there that's just for patrons. And so you have to actually sign up for a tier, and they're very low. $1, $3, $3, and $5 a month are the tiers, and $1 is just fine. I would have just done the one, or pay what you want. I don't care. But I wanted to do a little bit of monetization, and so I decided to do that. And but in any event, that's over there, and that's just, it will go live on YouTube, well, a month after I posted it. And I posted it, when did I post it? Posted on Monday or Friday or something, or Thursday, maybe it was last Thursday. I posted it, whenever it was that I did it. Anyway, in a month it's going to be live here on YouTube, but until that time, you can see it over there. If you sign up for a tier, you can. Otherwise, you have to wait. But it's going to be cool, I think. And so check that out if you want to. If you want to sign up, that'd be awesome. I'd appreciate that. And again, check out Ultimate Bundles below and all the other stuff that's down there. Check out the blog. I'mSteppingAside.com is the website address to that. Links below the video to everywhere, basically, I am. Check out on Stellar. That's another platform I'm on. That's very cool if you're into UFO stuff. That's really cool. But I guess that's it. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again for coming by. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.